Yes, happy Juneteenth to you. Hello, this is Courtney Rollins, host of the Life and Transitions Experts podcast and facilitator of the Facebook channel of the same name and YouTube, Facebook page group of the same name and YouTube channel. And on that channel, in that group, and in this space, I am helping folks who are going through some of the biggest transitions in life. And that's particularly when there's a passing away of someone who's died and has left assets or even debt or liabilities in their name, and they have to go through the probate process, or someone has to go through the probate process for them, obviously, because they've passed away. And there has to be a legal way of processing that. And that in most states, that's called probate. And so that's what we do. We help families navigate the probate process. I try to really come with a heart, head, and hands-on approach where we're really listening with our heart first to these situations, because this is a challenging situation in many people's lives. And particularly probate means that that person, for whatever reason, maybe didn't take all the steps they needed to take to avoid probate, because it is something I highly encourage we all avoid. But so many of us haven't been exposed to the tools that allow us to avoid probate for our families. Going through probate is essentially like filing a civil lawsuit against your loved ones after you've passed away. And it's very avoidable with certain legal remedies. So on this channel, we can help you figure out how to avoid those as well. And some people ask sometimes, Courtney, how do you keep the lights on? And for me, we provide the service and we don't charge folks that come to us, people who need help with their probate in North Carolina. I'm not an attorney and I'm not a financial advisor. I do share my opinions to help make the process go smoother. And quite often, there's property involved. Quite often, almost every single probate, about 70% of them have some type of property involved. And that's where we really get in the jam and help families come up with the right solution for that. And sometimes that solution is actually selling the property for speed and convenience. And that's where I can step in as a cash buyer. Or they may want to list it, and that's where I can step in and help them list it for top dollar. But there's other things they may want to do. They may want to keep it and turn it into an asset, which is awesome. I highly encourage home ownership if you have the right tools in place. This is what we're all about, right? That's what I'm doing to secure my family's legacy, is through home ownership. So if keeping it and turning it into an asset is something that you need help with, we can help with that as well. Or you may just decide to you want to repair and stay in it and live in it, the surviving spouse or someone wants to live in it, we can help with that. It's not my solution, it's what your solution is. And that's why we come with a heart, and then we get to work with our head and use our hands to make things happen. All right, so today we're actually going to talk about that. If you have inherited a property, or let's say you didn't even inherit a property, you have a property and you're thinking about selling it, but it's been lived in for a while, and it needs repairs, it needs rehab. One of the biggest challenges for folks who are either trying to move, or particularly when someone's loved ones passed away, is dealing with the stuff, the personal items, those things that are to some people maybe not valuable or hard to put a value on, but for you and for others has memories. And for some, there is just straight up trash. It's a lot to deal with, and that can prevent you from being able to put the property listed, have people come in and get the amount that you want to get for it. So if you're willing to trade speed and convenience, there is a way that you can sell your property without having to do any of the repairs, without doing the rehabs. And one of those solutions is actually speaking to cash buyers like Estate Pro Service, or I'm sure there's awesome cash buyers in your area. So let's see, I'm share my screen. All right. And I'm up. And I'm going to Canva. Don't mix, don't move, fix, or clean anything and still sell your property. Boom, shakalaka. So again, we've discussed probate being the legal process of settling the affairs in the estate of the deceased party if they have certain parameters that are met, or that need to be met, or thresholds need to be met. Now, again, I love home ownership. I highly encourage you to hold on to your properties if you can. If there may be reasons for you to sell, and quite often these reasons that I hear here's just like maybe the top 5 that I hear. If it's in a probate, they need the actual funds to be able to pay the debt of the estate. So selling the property releases those, provides the funds and equity to be able to settle that. You also perhaps need funds to actually share inheritance to the people who are left behind. It also may be the actual will of the person who's passed away, and they may have left that instruction in their last will and testament. So you need to execute their will. You may also need it to pay attorney fees. Now, probate, you don't have to use an attorney. I highly encourage you do have an attorney, but depending on the pay structure, it may get expensive depending on the size of the estate. Probate is generally pretty expensive regardless. And having an attorney, depending on this pay structure, it may be expensive for you, but regardless, you may need to use the property to sell. And surviving members may decide it's time for me to move on, downsize. Again, we were talking about those memories in the house. Some folks initially may think that they want to stay, but quite often 6 months later down the road, a lot of family members or folks are moving out. So there may be a reason they want to sell their property. And again, these are properties that have been lived in for a while. Quite often there's an older population that are passing away, just by and large. That's what it is. And quite often there's a lot of just beautiful life that's been in there. So selling property is one great thing about it. Again, no repairs needed. Put down that wrench. Don't think about any other things that you need to do to get that done. When someone says as is, that is what's meant. Now, you will need to, in a transaction, state any damages or things that are disclosed, anything about the property that you know, but you don't need to have to repair it. And again, selling as is, you need to make sure you check the contingencies. Make sure that you look at, quite often contracts will have an inspection period. Let your real estate attorney take a look really close. If you have a real estate agent, have them take a look at those different that section, inspection period. That means that the buyer has time to inspect. Now, I know we say as is, but still, a buyer, they're not buying a piece of gum, so they need to know what they're buying. So they may come in, they may still do an inspection so they can know what they may be getting into. And that inspection period gives them a chance to actually get folks in there. Contract expiration date. Make sure you know what the expiration date is on there so that all parties are adhering to their responsibilities. A due diligence period is sort of similar to an inspection period. It's when you're doing other things, maybe outside of inspecting the home, to make sure things are taken care of. Maybe you had some contingency on receiving type financing or approval from a partner, those different things. And quite often in the due diligence period, you'll have real estate marketers or investors like wholesalers are actually locking your property up under contract, and then they're sharing it with their network of investors and buyers. And that due diligence period gives them a chance to connect the buyer with the contract, and then they step in and fulfill the commitment. So the due diligence period gives them time to really shop around the contract based on their relationships that they've built over time. Now, selling property as is, be sure the title company does have the closing, or the closing attorney has the earnest money deposit. As I mentioned, wholesalers, I love wholesaling. That's where I've come in the game. I'm going to continue to wholesale, hopefully, the rest of my life. It's just so fun meeting people with issues or challenges or problems. Now, that's not the fun part, but the fun part is being able to step in and actually have a solution. And then you have a solution for this investor over here that's not their Jimmy Jam, connecting, working with people. Their Jimmy Jam is doing the rehabs, repairs, renting, managing, all that good stuff. And so you really get to solve a lot of people's issues and get paid well in the middle. But to be able to do that, I have to have a viable contract. And in U.S. law, to have a viable contract, you have to have an interest in it. And that has to be a monetary interest. Quite often is the way it's done. So secured by $1, $100, $1,000, whatever it is. If someone says they have an earnest money deposit, which you should have in your contract, make sure they turn that in and put it and submit it at the right time. Discuss access. Pretty sure between this time, if you're selling it as is, the person that you may have gone under contract with will still need to get access to the property. Again, they may be showing it to their other partners, their other investors. They may be doing inspections. They'll need to be able to get into the property. So just know that you do get the convenience of knowing the property will be sold, but there will still be time where access will need to happen. And you can negotiate, talk to your sellers, talk to your buyers, I should say. You may be able to negotiate where they help you move or clean out the stuff themselves. It could be part of the deal. So not only would you be able to have the convenience of not having to move the stuff out, but you have the convenience to find someone who will move the stuff out for you if there are things that you want. So for instance, I'm helping a gentleman. I'm helping him with a probate case. His wife passed away this past December, and he's going to. Well, we actually connected him as a transition specialist. I was able to help him find a placement agent. So he's actually picking 2 communities. I have to check with him which community he's going to go into. But regardless, we're buying the property. We're going to close, put cash in his pocket, and then I've committed to helping him move out, and I already have the moving services and all that good stuff. And so he will be A-okay as far as that's concerned. Again, you're trading speed and convenience for a discounted price. So there are expect you're not getting market value for many of these. Now there are different programs that we have in buying strategies that allow us to still pay the market value. But that really depends on the property, depends on the structure, depends on the situation. And it's usually where you'll pay over time. Say, okay, we'll pay $500,000, but we'll pay $10,000 now and whatever over time. Basically, you turn the seller into the bank, and it's a great strategy for everyone involved when the property fits that strategy. But most of the time, you're going to trade speed and convenience for a discounted price. And if you need help in any aspect of the property and the stuff, reach out to Estate Pro Service. We're a concierge service. We love connecting folks, love putting people in the right place. And other than that, I hope you enjoy the rest of this Juneteenth. I know I am. And I hope you have a great day. This is Life in Transitions Experts Podcast. Let your light shine.